Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity, Stop the New World Order. Welcome to Panwo TV. And it's Friday the 13th. Ooh. It also happens to be my birthday. Happy birthday to me, happy birthday to me, la 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 la, etc. Yeah, now what is it with Friday the 13th? What is it? It's said to be an unlucky day, and I'm not sure why that is. Some people say it's to do with the Knights Templar, because the Knights Templar were purged in 1307 on Friday the 13th of October, which was my birthday, back then. The thing about it is, that could be true, but it's also got to do with the Bible. Now, at the Last Supper, there were 13 people. There were the 12 apostles and Jesus, and and Friday, of course, was when Jesus got nailed up, didn't he? So that's another reason, possibly. Now, people who are afraid of Friday the 13th are called paraskevi-triskaidekaphobics. Yeah, paraskevi-triskaidekaphobia is the fear of the date Friday the 13th. Well, I don't know. I mean, I've got so far so good. What time is it now? It's about 9:30 in the morning, and nothing bad has happened so far. Well, I've still got to go out to work. Actually, I've only got 2 jobs to do, so it shouldn't take long. I'll be watching my back when I'm crossing the road extra carefully and things like that. Maybe people just do that subconsciously on Friday the 13th because of it may be at the back of people's minds. Even people who say they're not superstitious very often have an element of superstition within them. So, it is my birthday. I mean, this is not the first birthday where it's been on a Friday. There's been several over the course of my lifetime, and I remember the last one wasn't long ago, actually, and I don't remember anything particularly bad happening that day. Apart from being 1 year older, of course, but then that happens every birthday, doesn't it? Then again, the thing is, you're not 1 year older, are you? Because it's weird, isn't it? It's because of the way we measure time. For instance, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to tell you exactly what my age is because I'm ageless. I've joined the ageless movement. But yesterday I was the age before I am now. So was I really 1 year younger just 24 hours ago? It's one of these weird things, isn't it? It's one of these weird kind of paradoxes and contradictions and illogical things that characterise the human experience. Yeah. But anyway, this is a especially lovely birthday because I have had a gift from Sophie, the Porters poet. Yes, we had. I actually met up with Sophie and her partner Chris yesterday, and we had a little drink and to celebrate, and a little cake. I've still got some of it left. It's here. It's in here. I've still got a bit of cake left. It's very nice. A bit of chocolate. Chocolate and beetroot cake. I've never had that before, and I tell you what, it's actually pretty nice. So if you get the chance to have some chocolate and beetroot cake, it sounds like weird. It sounds a weird mixture of ingredients, but actually it works quite well. So try that out. But anyway, Sophie the Porters poet has, of course, written a poem. So let's have a look at it. And here it is. It's in this lovely scroll, just like the one she made for me before. Although the one she made for me before sort of tied up, but this one's different. It's got one of these seals. Now this is, look, see, it's look at that seal there, isn't it lovely? Now these seals. Now this is a really, like, see if you see it in the light there. Now these seals are a part of the way people used to write letters before you had these horrible envelopes. You had these little sticky sort of like sticky strips which you lick, and then it gives you a horrible taste in your mouth. In the days before that, people used to have seals. And what they would do is, you'd get a scroll like this, or an envelope, and you put your letter inside, then you'd seal the envelope by putting some drips of candle wax on it, and on that you'd actually put a mark. There'd be like a big metal stick with a mark on the end, or even a ring. You'd have a ring on your finger, and you'd go like that, and you'd press your ring to the seal. Now there's even like people who collect these seals, and the mark was actually, it was some kind of your symbol, so someone would see that seal and they'd realise it was a letter from somebody. So even before you opened it, you'd know it was from. And there's it's a lovely tradition. I wish was still around. A bit like in Minster Lovel, you know. They've all these traditions that don't exist anymore. But let's have a look at it. Anyway, it's got this lovely red ribbon around it. So I'm just going to tug that open there. Here we are. There we are. That's the red ribbon off, and now here is the seal, and that's the seal. The seal mark on this one is kind of like it's like a quill pen and parchment, which is sort of like a standard thing for a letter. But it's very well, it's sealed up. So I'm going to have to break the seal now. I'm going to try and do that without damaging the letter. Oops, it's coming up. That's it. Part of it come off there. Oh, and it's broken, yeah, without damaging the little letter now. Now, here we have, what do we have here? We have a poem. Oh my goodness, it's another epic. It's another Hiawatha from Sophie the Porter's Poets. Here we go. Now, let's have a look at this little letter. Right. Unlucky for some, many happy returns for Friday the 13th. Yay. Did someone say it's someone's birthday coming up soon? Well, if you didn't know whose, you've been living on the moon. The exporter has been dropping several hints about the date of his birthday. It should make you wince. To be fair, the date is a momentous occasion, especially if you happen to be of the superstitious persuasion. The exporter's birthday is a splendid month indeed. It's in October, where you'll get all the ghosts and ghouls you need. That's right, Halloween, isn't it? Not only is it at one of Ben's favourite times of year, Halloween, it also falls, of course, on day number 13. This year Ben's birthday is on a Friday. I said to Ben, how Hapanwo-esque is that, to have your birthday on Friday the 13th? I remarked, but Ben was ever the diplomat. Well, said Ben, it's been on Friday a few times before. Of course, I said, and it will be on many more. The next time Ben's birthday is on a Friday won't be too far away. According to our Gregorian calendar, it'll be 2023. That will be another momentous day. I can't cover all the theories of why that number 13 is unlucky. There's too many. I'm unable. But Judas, betrayer of Jesus, was fashionably late, and the 13th guest to the Last Supper table. Mirroring this in Norse mythology, Loki didn't get an invite to a banquet of 12, and he wasn't happy. He was the 13th guest and crashed the party. This god of mischief was a naughty chappie. Friday is said to be an unlucky day, and you won't be a sailor's cup of tea. If you turn a bed on a Friday, because you'll turn ships at sea. Oh, I didn't know that one. Let me read that again. Oh, turn a bed on. I see, right. I didn't know. That's interesting. Biblical references include Jesus' crucifixion and when Noah and his ark set sail. And when Eve thought she was getting one of her 5 a day, what at the end of the week? An epic fail. Really? Did the apple thing happen on a Friday? My goodness. So I don't want to leave any of these stanzas out. I think I'm alright there, yeah. If you put the number 13 and Friday together, then paraskevi-triskoidecaphobia is what you've got. It's the fear of Friday the 13th and the prevalence of the prevalence of the population. Well, actually, not a lot. But even if you haven't got as far as being given a label for this fear, many of us take fewer risks on this day of the year. I'm going to take a little pause now because I have to go off and do something else. Someone just knocked my door. I'll be back shortly. I just hope it wasn't the Grim Reaper or something, since it's Friday the 13th. Oh, someone dropping me a birthday card, believe it or not. Yeah, I won't show you the inside, but a Star Wars birthday card. That's who was knocking my door. Can you believe it? Now, where had I got to? Yeah, it was something to do with the paraskevi-triskoidecaphobia. Was it, had I read this one? Oh, I'll read it again just in case. I don't want to miss any out. If you put the number 13 and Friday together, then paraskevi-triskoidecaphobia is what you've got. It's the fear of Friday the 13th and the prevalence in the population. And the prevalence in the population? Well, actually, not a lot. Oh, I read it differently. I read it wrongly before. Yeah, someone was knocking the door. I get it now. But even if you haven't got as far as being given a label for this fear, many of us take fewer risks on this day of the year. There is a good reason why Friday the 13th in the month of October needs special mention. Well, it's, well, a conspiracy, I guess. And there's a bit of contention. It has nothing to do with the date Ben arrived on this earth, but it's to do with the place where he lives, for what it's worth. When I talk about a night out in Cowley, I don't mean a few pints followed by a kebab. Back then, you couldn't get home just by jumping in a cab. If you were one of the Knights Templar, you would have been on a horse, and you may have been riding 2 on 1 horse due to your abject poverty, of course. If you were a Knights Templar knight, you wouldn't be wearing your designer clobber. You'd be in your white mantle with a red cross, protecting Christian pilgrims from the highwayman and the robber. If you got into bother, you'd have more than your sharp tongue for dissection. As a warrior monk, you'd have your trusty sword for protection. If you were a Knights Templar, you wouldn't have any designer stubble. You would have been obliged to grow a beard, or you'd be in trouble. And strutting your stuff on the Cowley Road, you might think you're somebody's knight in shining armour. But as a Knights Templar, your role was to escort pilgrims to the Holy Land, not to be a charmer. I guess there's one similarity you might have with a Templar knight, I should say. Now the Arena nightclub has closed down. You won't be there dancing the night away. My goodness me. I just realised that Sophie, she reads every word I say. That's a very, sorry, I'll just pause a moment. The Arena nightclub, that's a very, rather arcane Hapanuo-esque reference there to something I only wrote about in one article, I think, long ago. If you were a Templar knight, you'd be throwing some shapes around the labyrinth, which is now considered holy. Another similarity is that through various initiations with your group, your kudos would grow slowly. That's the labyrinth. Remember it's one of the first videos I did, the Knights Templar labyrinth. Oh, that takes me back. I tell you, Sophie's got a better memory of. She's got a better memory of the things I've done than I have. As a ceremony of cleansing, if you were a Knights Templar, the labyrinth you would walk. This was also a gesture of loyalty to the Brotherhood. No spending hours on your mobile to text and talk. You might wake the next day with a hangover, but that doesn't compare to what happened to the Knights Templar. It was quite an affair. Friday the 13th of October in 1307 was the date. Being arrested by King Philip IV of France was their fate, and Templar Grand Master Jacques de Molay was executed that same day. The downhill of this military order. How did they end up this way? Founded in 1119, they grew in power and wealth. Indeed, they fought in the Crusades with quite some stealth. The non-combatant members of the order, of different ranking, were busy devising a very early form of banking. That's it, the black nobility. That's it. Oh God, and now I'm going to get comments saying, it's not the Jews, it's the Knights Templar. I'm going to have to make another video called Knights Templar. Are they behind the New World Order? Okay. They looked after the pilgrims' money, but allegedly made up fake receipts. It's like that. It's like the banknotes we have. Is that like the banknotes we have today? Oh, how history repeats. The Temple Mount in Jerusalem was where their headquarters was located. Thought to be the ruins of the Temple of Solomon, apparently finding treasure, which they excavated. In 1139, the order were exempted by the Pope for having obeyed. In 1139, the order were exempted by the Pope from obeying local laws, no taxes, and free to pass through all the borders. Being a Templar opened many doors. It was alleged that they worshipped Baphomet. Were they the beginnings of the Illuminati? This past do we now forget? This past we now forget. There was distrust and rumours of secret ceremonies of initiation. King Philip IV of France was in debt to the order and took advantage of the situation. On Friday the 13th of October in 1307, he had many tortured into false confessions and burned at the stake. What a superstitious day this did make. Could your Friday the 13th superstition cause you more grief than someone who doesn't hold this belief? Yeah, just want to check I haven't skipped any bits. Could your Friday the 13th superstition cause you more grief than someone who doesn't hold this belief? Does worry and distraction prevail? Does your blood pressure go off the scale? You might as well believe you've been cursed in this self-fulfilling prophecy. Many of us are well versed. Not so the exporter of this date. He ain't superstitious. He doesn't double tie his shoelaces on this day. He has no time to be that repetitious. I don't actually, that's true. However, the exporter had a strange occurrence in 2012. It was Friday the 13th of July, if you'll allow me to delve. There was a man, a stranger on the street, who started to swear at Ben, but the exporter didn't just do the expected conformist thing then. Oh, this is, my goodness. What's that? My goodness, I've forgotten all about that. Yeah. I'll tell you, if I ever need to remind me of anything, I'll just ask Sophie if I ever forget anything. If I say, when did I write about that? When did I write about this on the panel? She'll remember better than I do. Yeah, that's right. There was a guy, I made a video about that, I think. I certainly mentioned it on the Panmo radio. Ben didn't swear back. He remained dignified and sang a hospital portering song with pride. I did, yes. As Ben walked off, the man just stared. You can't even mind your own business. I'm afraid you're not spared. That's true, my goodness me. He didn't know where to turn. He was like, what? He was completely disarmed. Yeah. And then the exporter, upon reflection, thought how he hadn't asked why abuse was being hurled in his direction. Years ago, when primitive societies fought, they had a reason for this, is what Ben thought. As Ben says, the natural equilibrium should be peace and cooperation. But today, the overwhelming narration is that you need a reason not to be abusive. The Illuminati spend time and resources to keep that stable equilibrium elusive. That's it. I remember that's good, yeah. Warfare, violence and aggression is natural, is how the powers that be represent it. And it takes them effort and resources in order to prevent it. Is this really the foundation of our culture, conditioned into our collective mental landscape, preying on us like a vulture? That's a good way to put it, yeah. I'll just make sure I'm in frame still. Through media, peer pressure and education, the conformist regime has arrived at the station. It's survival of the fittest, law of the jungle, a dog-eat-dog world, and there is no reprieve. And peace is the unstable element, but this is a message Ben does not believe. Well, you could say that the Friday the 13th man was a stroke of bad luck for the exporter. I mean, who wants to receive verbal abuse? Wouldn't he rather have come across as a supporter? Ben didn't think it all bad, though. He said it made him think. So maybe it's all about how we perceive things, how we make the link. You might say it's unlucky if Ben was out walking a dog and the lead broke and the dog ran away. But you might also say it was lucky that the dog was okay. So, yeah. But how do you find luck? Apparently it's all about the explanation which we give to good and bad chance events to give us meaning in a situation. Carl Jung talked about meaningful coincidence, which he called synchronicity. Is that what luck is, in all its simplicity? Some people have lucky charms, like a horseshoe or a rabbit's foot. A couple of days ago, I saw a cat as black as soot. I'll let you into a secret. When I saw the cat, I hadn't started my poem for Ben. I'd got a few ideas, but I hadn't picked up my pen. I told Ben I had a Friday the 13th poem for him before I'd begun. Well, of all topics, of course, he just had to have one on this. So I hoped I'd get it done. I've had black cats. Can you? Oh, here we go. Yeah, I've had black cats cross my path just before things like job interviews and such, and they always seem to have helped me very much. But is that black cat giving me good fortune, or does it boost my confidence so I will in turn do well? My feline friend helped this time with my poem. Was it good luck then? Who can tell? Had you noticed that the name Ben Emlyn Jones has 13 letters? I hadn't actually, it's true. It does, yes, 13 letters, yeah. I never noticed that. Is that good or bad? Or maybe neither. Maybe it's just a number. This Friday the 13th stuff is driving me mad. Have I had black cats cross my path before when things have not turned out great? Maybe I've noticed those things. Well, at least my Friday the 13th poem for the exporter ain't late. In an unassuming part of Cowley, there's a circular pattern on the ground. That's the labyrinth, yeah. So there's a circular pattern painted on the ground. A labyrinth to commemorate its Templar past can be found. The Knights Templar had a lodge in Temple Cowley, and they leave a legacy in the area they occupied. I wonder if any Knights Templar ghosts in Cowley have been spied. Could the Knights Templar have been the beginnings of Freemasons the beginnings of the Freemasons of today? They had a perilous end, but do they continue in some sort of way? What are the chances of a Templar ghost appearing to an exporter? I'd say it's not a case of if, but when. But please make it on the 13th of October, so the ghostly Templar can say, many happy returns to Ben, the Porter's Poet 27. Oh, thank you, Sophie. There's some, what's on the back here? Oh, look! There's some things on the back. Always check on the back. Freemasonry symbol, yeah. The Templar cross. And here we are, we have Knights Templar symbols there. There's the two men on horseback. And there's Temple of Jerusalem. That's lovely, that's absolutely lovely. So, I really enjoyed that. That's great. Well, so thank you very much, Sophie the Porter's Poet, for that wonderful birthday gift. And that Friday the 13th poem is absolutely fantastic. She said it was a short one. It wasn't short. So, well, let's see what happens there. I tell you what, well, if you're watching this, it means I lived to tell the tale, and I uploaded it because I'm off to work now, and when I come back, I'll see what happens when I come back. But if you're not watching this, it means I never came back. That's probably unlikely, isn't it? You know, I mean, like I said, I've survived other Friday the 13th birthdays. I can survive this one. I'm not doing anything particularly risky today. What am I doing today? I think I've got to prune some. Oh, I've got to prune a pyrocanthus bush. That's got thorns on it. One of them could hit me in the jugular. Yeah, I better be careful. Anyway, but thanks everyone for watching, and whatever you're doing today, I hope I have a very happy birthday. Tune in for the next video soon. A hospital porter's pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order.